what ABC is for our kindergarten, time value of money is for CFA. Right. So Tejas, I remember going to Nasik some 12, 13 years back, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there was this place called Panchvati, there was this hotel called Panchvati there in Nasik, right? And I
Yeah,
still
both of
remember
them are there.
having, yeah, lots of Panchvatis are there, and I remember having a thali there, and it was awesome, right?
Yeah.
It is somewhere in 2007. That time I was working in Bombay, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
great. So, guys, we start with time value of money, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
reading six of our syllabus. Right? This is reading six of our syllabus, and right, just a second. Guys, basically, what time value of money is that two equal cash flows, two equal cash flows at different points of time, at different points of time are not equal, right? This is time value of money. In short, two equal cash flows at different points of time, at different points of time are not equal. So, right, guys, now I give you an offer, right? I give you an offer, right? Take $100 from me today or $100 from me 1 year from now. Which option will you choose, guys?
Today,
Obviously,
$100 today.
$100 today, right? You can go invest that money in a bank, right? Year and you will have $100. Obviously, you will take the first option, right? You will take the first option of getting $100 today, right? So, guys, always remember this
Mm-hmm.
that investors prefer to receive money today rather than the same amount of money in the future because a sum of money once invested grows over time, right? For example, money deposit in a savings account earns interest. Over time, that interest is added to principal, earning more interest, right? So, that's the power of compounding, the
Compounding.
joy of compounding, the eighth wonder of the world, the joy of compounding, right? And say if your money is not invested, what happens is that the value of your money erodes over time, right? So if you say hide this $100 in, under your mattress for say a year, you will lose the additional money it could have earned over the time, right? And say it would have even less buying power when you retrieve it because inflation has reduced the value of money, right? So guys, the point of context is that investors prefer to receive money today rather than, the same amount of money in the future because the sum of money once invested. Right? Right, guys, note
Mm-hmm.
on this, please.
Right, sir. Correct.
You won't have any
Yep.
doubt on this, right? Second, guys, we will be primarily dealing with compound interest here, but we'll have to differentiate between, right? We'll have to differentiate between difference between simple and first we'll have to understand the difference between simple and compound interest, right? Though this is very simple, but we'll have to, since this is a part of our reading, we'll have to discuss this. We've done this in our school, right? Guys, what is simple interest?
Basically, you don't earn interest over interest.
Yes. Say if we invest, say dollars 100, right, for 2 years, right, at 10% per annum simple interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would be my simple interest? The interest for 2 years would be
20 rupees.
$20.
P into R into T, which is how much? 100 rupees is my $100 is my principal. Rate of interest is 10%. Time is 2 years, so $20, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
value of my investment after 2 years is
120.
100 plus 20, that is 120, right? Now, how does it differ from compound interest, right? So let me draw a line here. Okay, guys, time zero, at time zero, I invest $100, right? At the end of year one, right, that I invest at the rate of 10% per annum compounded annually, right? 10% per annum compounded annually at the end of 1 year, my investment becomes 100 and 10% of
And
that
10.
is 110.
110.
At the end of
110.
the second year, right, I earn another 10% on my $100, right? And this interim cash flow of $10 is invested at the rate of
10%.
10%, right? So
Mm-hmm.
10% of $10 is how much? 1 rupee,
$1.
right? So my 10 becomes 11. So
Mm-hmm.
total value of my investment is 121,
120.
right? So value under
Yep.
simple interest is, or
120.
investment value under simple interest is 120, and investment value at the end of 2 years under compound interest is 121, right? This $1 difference is why, guys?
Compounding.
Yes, this $1 difference is because under compound interest, right, interim cash flows are reinvested at
The same
interim cash
rate.
flows are reinvested at the stated annual rate. I will discuss what stated annual rate is just in 5 minutes. Right? Any doubts up till here, guys?
No, sir.
No.
Are we good? So, okay. Basic difference between simple and compound interest is that under compound interest, interim cash flows are reinvested at the stated annual rate. Under simple interest, interim cash flows are not reinvested, right? So that is why your value of interest under compound interest, value of your investment under compound interest would always be higher than that of simple interest, right?
Simple interest.
Guys, there's some issue with OneNote. It's not uh right. I'm good. Hmm. Computer is behaving strangely. Why is it so? I'll have to start my OneNote. Okay. Okay. So guys, let me compound now. Guys, this particular reading will be bifurcated into three different sections, right? So this particular reading on time value of money would be bifurcated into three particular section. After having completed these particular three particular sections, we'll be good with this reading, right? Will be good, right? So the first section would be future value and present value of a single cash flow,
Single cash.
right? Then it would be future value and present value of a series of equal
Equal
cash
cash.
flows. What are series of equal cash flows? Series of equal cash flows are also known as annuity.
Annuity.
And on your Texas
Mhm.
BA2 instruments, right, on your Texas calculator, annuity is nothing but PMT. The PMT button on your Texas instrument calculator. Tejas, do you have that calculator?
I don't have it, but I've ordered it, so I should be getting it in a day or two.
So, on your Play Store, pages on the Play Store, right? If you have an Android
Okay.
on the Play Store, you have an app, right, of Texas BA2. You can download that for the time being, right?
All right.
Okay. And FVPV of a series of unequal cash flows, right? So after we are done with these three heads, we'll be good with this particular reading. Right. So we start off with FVPV of a single cash flow. Guys, now simple exercise first. Like let us invest $100, right, at a stated annual rate of 10% per annum compounded semi-annually, right, for 2 years, right? So at the cost of sounding very kiddish, we must have done all this in our school, right? So we are compounding semi-annually, right? So at time 0, at time 0.5, time 1, time 1.5 years, time 2 years, right?
Right, sir.
Okay, so my $100 here. What would be rate per 6 month period, guys? Ages, what would be?
5%.
Yes, 5%, right? Rate for every 6 month period would be 5%.
5%.
So my 100 would become
100 and
105 after 6 months, right? Again, $105 for this period, and this $5 would become what, guys? Please tell me what would this $5 become?
point, I think
107.5.
No, 5 into 1.05 is how much? 5 into 1.05, 5.25, right? So the value of my investment at the end of the first year would be 110.25, right? This
right.
$5 would be reinvested at the rate of 5%. So this $5 would become 5.25, right? At the end of the first year. Again, $100, I earned $5 for the period from the first year to the end of the 1.5 years. Again, right, this $5 would be reinvested at 5%, so it would become 5.25, and this 5.25 again would be reinvested for 6 months at the rate of 5%. So what would it become? 5.25 into 1.05.
5.51. 5.51.
So when we add this up, what do I get? 110 point. Just a second, guys. Just a second.
115.76.
115.7. Right. So at the end of the second year, $100. Again, I earned $5 for this period. Right. From the end of 1.5 years to the end of the from the beginning of 1.5 years to the end of the second year. Right. This 5.25. This 5.25 would grow to 5.25, right? This 5.25 would become 5.51, and this 5.51 would become how much? This would become 5.51 into
5.78.
so when we add all of this up, please add this up.
121.55.
Vishal, hi. I've been recording this class. We've missed around 10 minutes, right? We started at around 7:10 Indian time. It's 7:21 Indian time. So I've recorded this class. I'll send a recording of this class in the group after the class is over, right? So basically,
Yeah,
we were
sure. I'm sorry for
discussing.
that.
Basically, we were discussing very simple stuff. Right now, we were discussing what is simple interest, how does it differ from compound interest, and we kind of got through the point that under compound interest, interim cash flows are reinvested, right? And under simple interest, interim cash flows are not reinvested. That is why our investment value is, or our future value is higher under compound interest compared to simple interest. That's what we've discussed till now. Right.
Okay.
Just open with my OneNote. Just a second. Not scrolling down. Okay. So now, guys, see, once uh, I compounded my $100 for 2 years annually in this case, guys. Yes, I was compounding every 1 year in this case, right? So my $100 became 121 when I was compounding once a year, or when I was compounding per annum. Now I was compounding semi-annually, right? So guys, first note, my PV in this case is $100, right? My I by Y is how much?
5%.
5%, right? How many periods I am having here, guys? Tejas, how many periods do I have here? This total
One,
2 year period
two,
is being broken down into how many sub periods?
four.
Yes. So, n is equal to 4. This n is the capital N on your calculator. See, guys, I'm writing this down so that you can feed this in your calculator. Tejas, if you don't have your calculator, right, I'll ask you to just download the Texas Instrument app on your Android, right? Vishal, do you have your
Mm-hmm.
calculator, please?
Yeah.
Okay. So PV equal to 100, I by 5 equal to 5%, N is equal to 4. The PMT button would be 0. PMT would come into picture when I discuss annuity, right? When I discuss annuity, PMT would come into picture, right? CPT FV, please enter this in your calculator if you're not aware of how to use your calculator. Please first enter second CPT, second CLR WRK. Right? Once you enter this, right, your memory would be cleared. Clear memory. This is the command to clear the memory of your calculator. After having entered this, please enter PV equal to 100, I by Y equal to 5, N equal to 4, PMT equal to 0, CPT FV. Please tell me what your answer is. Yes, please tell me what your answer is.
1 to 1.55.
1 to 1.55. The same that we found out from this elaborate calculation, right? Next thing to notice that when our investment was compounded once a year or annually, right? My future value was 121, right? My future value when I compounded once a year or annually was 121, right? But when our investment was compounded twice a year, right? Or semi-annually, FV equals 121.55. So guys, why do I get this extra 55 cents? Guys, why do I
Because
get
it
this
is
extra
compounded.
seven? Right? Because I compounded semi-annually, I compounded twice a year, right? That is why my future value is higher, right? So inferences, right, or implications, guys, this is very important. Though it might seem very simple right now, later on tomorrow when I put forward a number of questions, you might get confused. But please remember, as the number of compoundings will increase, right, future value will increase, right? A second implication which we need not, which, which does not need an example, guys. As the stated rate of interest, right, as the stated rate of interest increases, future value will increase, right?
Rahul, one question for you.
Yeah.
Can you please explain how to do the calculation on the calculator because I cannot get the required answer on the calculator.
Yeah, sure. That is not an issue, right? So, Tejas, you asked me this question, right?
Yes.
So, you have that app right now, Tejas?
Yeah, I have an app downloaded on my phone which is basically equivalent to the calculator.
Okay. So, Tejas, can you see the second button on your calculator?
Yep.
So, type second CPT, second clear work.
Second
Clear
second
work is your
CPT.
CEC button, right? Second is your CEC button on your calculator. You will see
Yep.
it on the
Done that.
top, in the bottom left of
Mm-hmm.
your.
Got it.
You got that button?
Yep.
So see, this command clears the memory of your calculator, right? This would clear the
Mm-hmm.
memory of your calculator. Now, first press PV, right?
PV. Yep.
PV, enter 100,
Enter 100.
right? Then press I by Y,
Then press I by Y.
press 5.
Press 5.
Okay, what you do is I'll just repeat the process. Type 100, press PV. Type 100,
Mm-hmm.
type 100, press PV. Do it in the same order as I'm telling you. Type 100, press
No, so
PV.
first.
Hey Krishi, means
Rahul,
we are
Rahul.
getting confused.
Yeah.
Rahul, okay, sorry. So you can share the screen and show us the balance you are calculating, so it will be
Okay,
easy
see, I
to
have the
understand.
physical calculator with me. I don't have the app, right? Uh,
Okay.
I have the physical calculator with me, so let me see if I can do that.
Can you explain this, sir?
Which
So,
one?
because do we first need to press PV and then 100, or first 100
No, no,
then
let
PV?
me, okay, let me do this.
First 100, then PV.
I'll just repeat it
Ooh.
again, right? Second CPT, second CEC, second CPT, second CEC, right? Please press this.
Mm-hmm.
Then type 100 on your calculator, 100, press PV. Type 100, press PV. Done.
Type 100. Yep.
Then press 5, then press I by Y. Done. You just Vishal, done.
Yeah, yeah.
Press 4, press N. Done. You just have you done this?
Yes.
0 PMT.
0
Press 0, then
PMT.
press PMT.
Mm-hmm.
Then can you see the CPT button top left corner?
Mm-hmm.
CPT, then press FV. After pressing CPT, press FV. What do you see?
Minus
Minus
121.5506.
So please remember this. We've got the answer, right? You've got the answer. You need to get a hang of using the calculator. We won't be using formulas here because the CFA syllabus is so vast that we need to use the calculator more often, right? Using the calculator will help us get rid of a lot of formulas, right? So the reason why you're seeing a minus is that the default mode on your calculator is that whatever the sign of your PV is, right? So since you've 100 entered plus 100, right? So since you've entered 100 by default, that means plus 100. Whatever the sign of PV will be, right? Whatever is the sign of the PV, FV sign will be the exact opposite of that. This is the default mode of our Texas Instrument calculator, right? That FV will always have the opposite sign of PV, right? So if you enter PV as minus 100, your calculator would return FV to be positive
Positive.
121.55, right? This is the default mode of our calculator of Texas Instrument. Vishal, are you good? Vishal, have you done this calculation? Vishal? Is Vishal there?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
So you got this answer, you got 121.55.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you press 100 first, then PV, press 5 first, then I by Y, press 4, then N, 0, then PMT. PMT is nothing but your annuity. I will discuss annuity today as well. I'll complete what annuity is by the end of this session. Right? So
Rahul, just a quick question for you. Is there any video we can get to understand how the calculator works in a better way?
I Tejas, I have not recorded such a video, but there are numerous videos on YouTube, right? There are numerous videos
Okay,
on
I'll
YouTube.
refer to them then.
Yeah, I have not
Perfect.
recorded such a video right now, but there are numerous videos on YouTube, right? And see, Tejas, what happens is that as we attend more and more of our sessions, right? I will be stressing upon how to use the calculator, right? Because if we
Okay.
don't use the if we don't use the if we don't have a hang of using the calculator, we'll feel really helpless during the examination, right? So
Mm-hmm.
our calculator is nothing less than a weapon, right?
It is very easy to use once you attempt all the questions given at the end of this
You'll
chapter.
get Tejas, you'll get a hang of it really soon, right? You'll get a hang of it really soon because when I'll be solving questions, I'll ask you to solve questions using the calculator only. So you'll get a hang of it. So don't worry about it. Okay. So
And there are some videos on the YouTube channel,
yeah,
I
there
believe.
are
So
a n number of videos, right? There are n
yes,
number of videos on YouTube. So the basic context is that as the number of compoundings increase, my future value increases, and obviously, if my interest rate increases, future value will increase, right? That is given, that is default. So, guys, let me introduce a new variable here. Let me introduce a new variable. That new variable is m, right? So, what is m? M is the number of compoundings within a year. M is what? M is the number of compoundings within a year. Okay. So guys, if I compound annually, what would be M?
One.
One.
Right. If I compound annually, M equals 1. If I compound semi-annually, then
two,
2. Right. If I compound quarterly,
four.
4. Right. If I compound daily,
Daily is 365.
right. If I compound weekly,
Weekly is 52.
Two.
so please remember this. I've introduced a new variable which is m, which is the number of compoundings within a year. So guys, let us now come to our formulas. Don't formally need to know the formulas, right? We don't need not know the formulas, right? We'll be using our calculator. See, I'll be sending over the PDF copy of this one note after the class, right? So I'm trying to present it in a neat way, right? Guys, when I compounded annually my $100 at the my PV of $100 at time 0 became 121, right? And when I compounded semi-annually, my PV of $100 became 121.5. Right, guys? Do we remember this?
Yep.
So we can write
Yep.
this in this way: 121 is equal to 100 into 1 plus 10% by 1 to the power 1 into 2, right? Or let me give you notations for this. My FV, which is 121, equals PV into 1 plus 10% is my SAR. Since I am compounding annually, my M equals 1 by M into N. My N is 2. Guys, can we correlate with this formula, please? Guys, can we correlate? Though we need not remember this formula for my examination, but since it's a part of our syllabus, right? I have to discuss it. Though if you don't remember it, if you it's perfectly okay. Guys, are we good on this, please? How is this formula coming into picture?
Yeah. And what is N here?
M is 1,
M
right?
is
Because we are compounding annually. M is 1.
M is
M
1
is
and
1 and
N.
N. N is 2. N is 2 because the number of years are 2.
Oh,
Oh,
number of
number
year.
of year.
Time.
Time.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, sure. So give me the formula for this, guys. So 121.55 is equal to what? Please tell me. Give me the RHS of this equation.
100 is
Is
PV
PV. Right.
into
Into. Right.
1
1
plus
One
plus. Yes.
rate of
Rate of
interest is
interest is
10.
10. Right.
by
By
two.
2.
On
On
M
M
is
is yeah, I'm
this
This
is
compounding
is
semi-annually here.
compound
Compound
semi-annually
semi-annually
2.
2. So M
2,
equals 2. So
2
10
into
by
2.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Into 2
Of
into
2
2.
into 2. Into 2. This also would
two
take
into
this
two.
form. FV is equal to PV into 1 plus SAR by M. M into N. Right. Again, in your calculator, guys, your capital N of your calculator is nothing but M into N, right? It is M into N. N is the number of years and M is the number of compoundings within a year, right? Your I by Y in this case would be I by Y in this case would be 10%, right? Since you're compounding semi and your since you're compounding annually, so your I by Y is what? SAR by M, which is 10 by 1, right? And your N I have given is 2 into 2 into 1 into 2, right? PV is 100, PMT is 0, CPT FV. And here again, N is equal to M into N, which is 2 into 2, 4, right? I by Y would be SAR by M, which is 5%. PV equals 100, PMT equals 0, CPT FV. We've already calculated this in your calculator. If you want to check this, you can check this, guys. If you are good with this, please tell me. I'll move forward. Though we need not remember all these formulas, right? We'll be using our calculators to do this. Are we comfortable till now, guys?
Yep.
Yep. Tejas, are we comfortable? Vishal is comfortable. Sumit, I know is comfortable. Tejas, are we good?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, guys, now we'll have a short discussion on what SAR is, what periodic rate is, and what EAR is. EAR stands for effective annual rate. SAR stands for stated annual rate, right? So, what is SAR? SAR is basically it is the rate quoted by a bank or a financial institution, right? So in our case, what is the SAR, Tejas? Tejas, what was my SAR in this? What we in the examples that we had discussed?
10%.
10%. Yep, 10%. Now we come to periodic rate. Periodic rate is what?
And what is
What is
SAR being the
SAR
full
being
form
the
of
full form of
SAR?
SAR? SAR is stated annual rate.
Annual rate.
Annual rate.
Okay, it's
So it is
stated
the
annual
rate
rate.
quoted by your bank or your financial institution. It stands for stated annual rate. Periodic rate is the rate per period. Rate per period. So guys, when we were compounding semi-annually, what was my rate per period?
5.
5. Yes, 5%. How did I get 5? SAR by M, where
True,
M is
true.
the number of compoundings within a year, right? So rate per period is stated annual rate by M, where M is the number of compoundings within a year. Now, guys, okay, let's come to effective annual rate. Guys, effective annual rate would have serious implications when we will be discussing portfolio management, when we will be discussing holding period returns, right? All this will play a very important role. So uh, kindly pay attention. If you have any doubts, you can ask me right now. Later, if you ask me, right, the train would all have left the station, right? So please stop me whenever you have doubts. You can stop me anytime you want, right? Okay. So my T at zero was $100, right? And my value of my investment, guys, let's come back to this example, right? My T at time zero, the value of my investment was $100. At the end of the first year, the value of my investment was 110.25 at a stated rate of 10%. My SAR was 10% and per annum compounded semi-annually, right? So my T was at T1, the value of my investment was 110.25. Guys, my stated rate was 10%, but how much did I earn in 1 year? How much did I actually earn in 1 year?
10.25.
Yes, I earned
10.25.
10.25. How did I get that? 110.25 minus 100 into 100, right? That is 10.25. So guys, even though my stated annual rate was 10%, I earned 10.25%. So effectively, I earned 10.25 because my investment was compounded twice a year, right? So my SAR is 10%, but because my investment was compounded twice a year, right? I effectively earned 10.25%, and that is my EAR, effective annual rate, right? So what is EAR, guys? EAR, if I go by the definition, right, it is the interest rate, right, which takes into account the number of compoundings within a year.
And APR
And
is same
APR
as
is same as
EAR?
EAR.
Vishal, I won't confuse with you with that, guys. I will just stick to what is in the CFA Institute mat, right? I'll just not
Okay.
confuse it. What
Okay.
APR is,
Okay.
right? We have to go by the convention because these conventions would be given in our examination.
Okay. Okay. Sure. I was thinking
I
that
was
it's
thinking
it's
that
the same
it's the
thing,
same thing,
kind of thing. APR.
APR.
APR would be the same thing, Vishal, but see, but
Yeah.
I won't
Yeah.
discuss it because that's not a part of syllabus. It is the
Okay.
kind
Sure.
of
Okay. Sure.
it is the same thing actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we good, everyone? Any doubts? Because we are going to have a short exercise now. So, do you have any doubts? So, Tejas, any doubts?
No, no.
No. Okay. We'll be having this small exercise now. You'll have to give me the answers, right? Calculate EAR, right, guys? This comes up in the exam. I can show you a question paper right now. which will ask you such questions. The questions that I'll just ask when SAR is 10%, right? When you compound annually, when you compound semi-annually, when you compound quarterly, when you compound monthly, when you compound daily. Right, guys? Calculate this, please. Please calculate this and tell me the answers. See, these questions are usually tested in the exam, right? You're bound to get two or three questions from time value of money, right? And I assure you that one question would be somewhat like this, right? Okay, guys, what would be the EAR when I compound annually?
10%, 10%.
10%. How? How did we get it?
Because there is no compounding money.
Right.
We
So
are
my
only
EAR formula is this, guys. EAR formula is this 1 plus SAR by M to the power M minus 1. Right. Take this example here. Where did this go? Just take a second, guys. There's some issue. Take this example here. Right. My 10% was compounded semi-annually. So 1 plus SAR by M to the power M minus 1. So my SAR was what? 10%, and my interest was compounded semi-annually. So 10 by 2 to the power 2 minus 1. Please calculate this. This is the formula for calculating the EAR. Please calculate this. What do you get? Basically, 10 by 2 is 0.05, 1.05 to the power 2 minus 1. You will get 10.25%, right? Okay, so now after having discussed this, tell me what would be my SAR if I compound annually, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, daily. Sumit is right. See, when we compound annually, my EAR would be 1 plus 10%. Tejas, what would be my M when I compound annually? What would be my M when I compound once a year or when we compound annually?
When you compound yearly in percent, when you compound semi-annually, it's gonna be 10.25. When you're gonna do it quarterly, it's gonna be 10.38128. When you're gonna do it monthly, it's gonna be 10.4713. I'm doing the one for
Beautiful,
yearly right now.
beautiful. Right. Thank you so much. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've got a hang of it. You've got a hang of the calculator as well, then I think. Right, Tejas?
No, I'm just going on a normal calculator as of now.
No, no, don't do Tejas, don't do on your normal calculator. Right. I'll encourage you to use the Texas instrument only, right? Because the normal calculator and Texas instruments, right, there are a lot of differences, right? So, Vishal, are we good? Vishal?
Yes, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. And one more thing. This in the calculator it is written end and beginning mode. So which mode we should be using it?
See, the default would be end mode, right?
Yeah.
That pertains when we discuss annuity. I'll just discuss this when we'll be discussing annuity, right? Your default
Okay.
mode is your end mode, right?
Yeah.
But when we discuss annuity due, we will use the BGN mode, right? When we
Okay.
discuss
Okay.
annuity due, we will use the BGN mode. Let us come to that. I'll give you an idea about it.
Okay. Sure.
So,
Okay.
what is
Sure.
my daily EAR equals 1 plus 0.10 by 365 to the power 365 minus 1. Monthly EAR equals 1 plus 0.10 by 12 to the power 12 minus 1, right? Here EAR is equal to 1 plus 0.10.
So just a quick question. So doing this on the financial calculator, it's going to be same as how we do it on a normal calculator, right? Nothing different.
Nothing different here. Nothing different here. Obviously, nothing different, Tejas. Nothing different. But I'll
Right.
just encourage you to use the Texas Instrument calculator, right? I'll just now from now on, right?
Understood.
You carry this Texas Instrument calculator to your office, right? You calculate whatever you calculate on this calculator. Forget your normal calculators, right?
Understood.
Guys, are we good on
The main,
this?
the main,
Hmm?
Tejas, the main problem is when we are using the normal calculator, we have to remember the formula. But in the Texas calculator, we don't
You
have to
don't have
remember
to
the
remember
formula.
any formula, right?
We just need to click the buttons and then we
Right.
should be
Here we
good.
have to
Understood.
enter CPT, we have to enter all N, I by Y, then it takes care of it all. Texas Instrument
Yeah.
calculator takes care of everything by itself, right? Okay, guys.
Understood.
Now, what if I continue compound? I was talking of compounding annually. I was talking of compounding semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, daily. What if I compound every second? Or what if my M is infinite? Guys, what do we do then? What do we do then? If my number of compoundings are infinite, if I compound every second, that would be wonderful, right? I would invest all my money if I could if I could compound every second. Guys, when we
Mm-hmm.
compound continuously, we use something called E. E is what? Euler's number, the magical number. So,
Mm-hmm.
guys, you have a background in science or you have a background in commerce?
Science.
So, if you have a background in science, you must be knowing what E is, what your magical number, what your Euler number E is, right? E is 2.718268, right?
Yeah.
And it goes on and on and on, right? Guys, do we know how to
Mm-hmm.
derive this number?
We know, but I forgot.
I forgot.
Okay. Guys, I'll just give you an idea as to how do we get this number. See, E is nothing but the maximum possible result or the maximum possible FV that we can get if we continuously compound a 100% growth rate for one time period. Right, I can show how to get this result. I'll just show it in Excel. It'll just take me some 1 minute or so, and I'll show you in Excel. Right. Okay. So let M be say 1, 2, okay, 4, 12, 365, okay, 10,000, Okay, 100,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh, 1 crore. Okay, so let M be this. So if you M is the number of compounding, so we'll compound 10 million times or 1 crore times, and we compound 100% growth rate. So guys, what was my formula of future value? 1 plus, how can I denote 100% growth rate, guys? If I type 1, that would be 100% growth rate divided by M. M is the number of compoundings within a year to the power of M, right? This was my formula, guys. Do we remember this? I just give you this formula. Okay. So if I compound 100% growth rate once a year, my $1 will become $2, right? My $1 would become $2. Guys, can you see that if I compound 1 crore times, my future value is not going above 2.71828? Can you see this, guys? It does not matter when if I am compounding 1 lakh times or 10 lakh times or 1 crore times, my future value is settling around 2.718268, and that is my Euler's number. Guys, can we get this, please? Pages, can we get this?
Yep. Yep.
So this is my Euler's number. If I compound 100%, continuously compound 100% growth rate for one time period, that is my E, right? This is basically telling me that it does not matter how many times I compound my future value of my $1, the future value of my $1 would settle around 2.718268. Are we good, everyone? Vishal, Sumit, are we good, everyone?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So basically, what I'm trying to say is, again, I'll repeat it at the risk of stating the obvious, right? Euler's number is basically telling me it does not matter if you say, if I compound, say, uh, 10 crore times, right? Let me compound 10 crore times or 100 million times. Okay, let me add another zero. See, guys, the future value is not increasing beyond 2.71828, right? It is settling around that number. So basically, it is telling me that uh, if I if I compound infinitely, my $1 will not exceed 2.71828, right? So that is the basic implication of this, right? Now, how do we calculate uh, the EAR? Calculate my EAR, right, when SAR of SAR of 10% is compounded continuously. Guys, please open your calculator. Guys, please open your calculator, right? The formula for continuously compounded EAR is, right, continuously calculating the EAR for continuously compounded SAR is EAR to the power, EAR equals E to the power SAR minus 1, right? Your SAR here is 10%, E to the power 0.1 minus 1, right? So in your calculator, what do? Press point 1. First enter point 1 in your calculator, second ln. Press point 1 in your calculator, then second ln. What do you get?
0.10502.
0.1 second ln would be 1.1052, right? And you deduct 1 from that, right? You get 0.1052 for 10.52%, right? So guys, when your stated annual rate of 10% is compounded continuously, your effective annual rate is 10.52%. Guys, can we understand this, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sumit, Vishal,
Yeah.
Tejas, all of us, are we good? What continuous compounding is?
Yes.
Okay, so we are good with a major portion of what we had to discuss today. Right. Okay. So, guys, let me take a question. Okay, the value of my investment, right? So my investment is a value of dollars 75,000, right? In 6 years, right? With the SAR of 7% compounded quarterly. Guys, do this. We don't need the formula. We don't need the calculator. I sorry, we need the calculator, but we don't need the formula.
The answer
Because
is 113,733.209.
yes, yes, that is the answer, right? On your calculator, Tejas, see your capital N is M into N. What is M, Tejas? Here, what would be M?
M is going to be 4.
4. 4.
Yes, M is 4 because we are compounding 4 times in a year. We are
Quarterly.
compounding quarterly. N is how much? 6 years. So my capital N of my calculator would be 4 into 6, 24, right? My PV is 75,000, right? My I by Y would be SAR by M, which is how much? 7% by. Okay, guys, one thing to note here, when you enter I by Y in your calculator, don't enter in decimal places, please. Right? Don't enter in decimal places. So you won't enter 0.07 by 4, right? You don't enter 0.0175, you enter 1.75. Don't enter 0.0175, enter 1.75, right? PMT equals 0, CPT FV. Uh, Guys, are you getting the answer, please? The answer is 113733. Tejas, Vishal, guys, are you getting the answer?
Doing
Yeah.
the calculation.
113,733.21.
Yeah. So first what we do is before entering this, right, always remember, a thumb rule is you please enter before every calculation, enter second CPT, second CEC. This clears your memory. This is most important. If before any calculation that you do, right, please enter this. This clears your, right, clears not your memory, clears the memory of your calculator. So clears the memory of. Pages, are we getting the answer? Pages there.
Yeah, I'm there. Just a minute. Yep, got it. Got it.
Okay, great. Great. So, towards the end of our particular session, hopefully that excited as what the CFA is now. Guys, there is one very important point that is highly important, that is revival of the CFA. So which slide? Which slide topic mein hai wo? Basic points, right? Okay. Very important point, guys. Please pay very due attention. Tomorrow I'll ask you questions on this particular topic, right? So when I was compounding semi-annually, right? Guys, what will happen is that in a number of questions, the question will not tell you the M, right? It will not tell you what is M, right? The question will never state what is M, right? So what to do in that case, right? So I'm just telling you that this is not given in the books, right? You have to infer this particular thing, right? Guys, when I compounded an SAR of 10% per annum compounded semi-annually in 2 years, my value of my investment became 121.55, right? So we remember my SAR was 10%, right? And my EAR, when I compounded the SAR semi-annually, my EAR was how much? 10.25%, right? Guys, please note this. This is very important, right? When we calculate, see, this is not given in any book, so uh, pay very keen attention now. If you have any doubts, stop me here and now. Okay, when we calculate FV with SAR, right? We use M, right? We use M, right? In the following formula. That is my what was my formula of FV? FV equal to 1 plus SAR by M to the power M, right? But when we calculate FV with EAR or my effective annual rate, we do not use M. We do not use M, right? In that case, my FV is equal to 1 plus EAR. Guys, just understand this. This is very important. This is very important, right? I'll just take an example of this. Let me draw a line. Okay, so this computer is going slow. Okay, so T0, T1, SAR is equal to 10% per annum compounded semi-annually. Dollars 100 becomes T2, right? T2 becomes dollar 100 becomes 121.55 dollars in 2 years, right? So how guys, how will we calculate this 121.55? We will use M because for calculating future value, we have been given the stated annual rate, right? We have been given the stated annual rate and we are saying that we are compounding semi-annually, right? So now we will use M, right? We will use M, right? And on my calculator, I will write capital N is equal to M into N, or number of years are 2. Number of compoundings within a year are also 2. So 2 into 2, 4. I by Y would be SAR by M, which is 10 by 2, which is 5, right? PV equals 100 and my PMT equals 0. And if we do CPT FP, we will get 121.55. As we've already done this on your calculator, done this on our calculators, no need to do it again, right? But now the important point is that say question does not get tell me the number of compound, right? I just mentioned tomorrow on this. I won't do any question on this on particular event today. I'll give you a question tomorrow on this, right? If I have a t equals 0 to 12, right? Was 121.55 and my EAR. Guys, in that case, my N will equal to my I by Y equals 10.25, right? My PV will equal to 100 FV. Please do it on this on your what I on your calculator. PMT equals 0. This should give the same result as 121.55. Please do this on your calculator. This is a very important point, guys. Tomorrow, when I do questions on time value of money, this concept would come into play, right? Please calculate this. Are we getting 121.55 as the future value?
Yep.
Zero
121.5506.
six.
So, guys, when we are calculating the future value with my effective annual rate, we do not use M. This is not given in any book that you will read on CFA L1. Whenever you use effective annual rate to calculate your future value, you do not use M, you do not use the number of compoundings within a year. Now, guys, the question is why? Why, guys? Vishal, please tell me why. Is Vishal there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I'm
here.
here.
Sumit, can you tell me why?
Can you please repeat the question? My headphone had some
No
problem. I
issues.
was
No,
trying.
okay. So I'll tell you why, guys. See, guys, when we were discussing EAR, I told you EAR is the interest rate which takes into account the number of compoundings within a year. So, right, guys. So when I'm using the EAR of 10.25%, it has already taken into account the number of compoundings within a year. So my M becomes redundant then, because my EAR has already taken into account the number of compoundings within a year. So M becomes redundant when I'm using the FV to calculate, when I'm using the EAR to calculate the FV. So I'm writing this down here. EAR has already taken into account the number of compoundings, and number of compoundings was what? M. So EAR has already taken into account the number of compoundings, or M, within a year, right? So while calculating FV with EAR, right, M becomes redundant, right? Or is of no use, right? Guys, are we good here? Any doubt, please ask me. This is an important point. You won't find this point in any book that you read on time value of money, or any book that you would read on uh, what do you say, on CFA L1. Guys, any doubt? Pages, Vishal, Sumit, anyone? Any doubt? Please tell me.
No doubts, no doubts.
No, no.
So, because guys, remember we were calculating EAR in this fashion. EAR was 1 plus SAR by M to the power M minus 1. So, since in the calculation of EAR we have already taken into account the number of compoundings within year, or M, right? So, while calculating FV with EAR, we need not use M again, right? So, that is the
Yep,
funda.
yep.
Pages, are we
Okay,
good here?
okay.
Vishal, are we good?
Yes,
Sumit, are we good?
yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it. I got it.
Yes, yes, sir.
Tejas, Tejas, is it good? Is Tejas
yes,
there?
yes.
Okay, so guys, we are good with so I had basically classified this reading into three heads. This one note is acting as if it's haunted. It's not scrolling down. Let me just restart this.
So you are going to
So you
share
are
the
going to
notes
share
of
the notes of
OneNote?
OneNote?
Yeah, yeah. After the class, Vishal, I'll share the PDF of the one note, right?
Okay, okay.
Okay, guys. So we are done with the first portion, which was, where's the first portion? We are done with the first portion, which is FVPV of a single cash flow. Now we discuss FVPV of a series of equal cash flows. Right, guys? So the second head is FVPV of a series of equal cash flows at equal intervals. Right? Okay. Guys, series of equal cash flows. Annuity. Very
Annuity,
important point. Annuity is what? Series of equal cash flows at equal intervals. Okay. Again. Tejas, are there any doubts, please? Vishal, any doubts?
no, no.
Okay.
No, no.
Guys, since I repeated that time value of money is basically the ABC that we read in kindergarten for CFA. Time value of money is that, right? It's our ABC, right? So that is why I am asking, right? So if your ABC is not clear, then what will happen is that we won't be able to make, we won't be able to frame good sentences, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Vishal, which part of India are you from?
From Chandigarh, Panchkula, Panchkula.
Oh, so Sumit is also from Chandigarh, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is a very small world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I am too from Punjab, Vishal. Though
Oh, great. Oh, great.
I stay in Calcutta. I am from Amritsar, right?
Okay, great, great. So right now you are in
So right now you are
Calcutta?
in Calcutta?
Yep.
Okay, okay.
So basically, by profession, Vishal, I'm a stockbroker, right?
Oh, great.
So
Oh,
this is
great.
my hobby. That's all. Okay. Okay, no, I made a mistake here, right? So, guys, this is year one. This is year one, year two, year three, year one, year two, and time zero, year three. Guys, which is now please go through the definition of annuity: series of equal cash flows at equal intervals. Guys, is this an annuity? Is this an
Yes,
annuity?
yes.
Guys, this
Equal
is an
cash flow.
annuity: three equal cash flows at regular
Equal,
intervals at
equal.
the end of each year, right?
Yep, yep.
Is this an annuity? B.
Yes, yes,
No, no.
No,
yes,
this
yes.
too is an annuity. Three cash flows at regular intervals. Only difference is that the cash flows here are occurring at the beginning
Beginning
of
only.
each period, right? So, guys, this is so don't confuse yourself. This is also a 3 year annuity, right? This is also a 3 year annuity because we are having three cash flows at regular interval, right? But the cash flows here are occurring at the end of each period, right? The cash flows are occurring at the end of each period, right? So the first cash flow is occurring at the end of year one, the second at the end of year two, the third at the end of year three. This two is not this, so don't confuse. This is the basic mistake most L1 aspirants make. This two is also a 3 year. This two is also a 3 year annuity, right? Because I have three cash flows, one, two, three, at equal intervals, right? The only difference is that the cash flows are occurring at the beginning of each period. So, Vishal, when we have such a case, we use the BGN mode of our calculator, right?
Okay, okay. Yeah, got it. Yeah, got it.
When we have cash flows that occur at the beginning of each period, that then we use the BGN mode. The default mode of our calculator is end mode. When our just excuse me for a second. Okay, cash flows are happening at the beginning of each period, right? We use the BGN mode of our calculator here. We will solve all of this, don't worry, right? And we use the end mode of our calculator. See the end mode of our,
Rahul,
yep.
one quick question to you. So, in the B cash flow which you have shown, will it be a 3 year annuity or a 4 year annuity?
That would be a 3 year annuity. Because see, there are three cash flows at three intervals.
Oh,
We
okay, sorry. I thought 4 because you had a tick on top of 3 as well.
no,
That's why I asked.
so I'm just
Okay, understood.
putting a cross here, right? So I put a cross at time zero at the A part, and on the B part I put a cross at the third year. So, right? They just now is it clear? There's no cash flow at the end of the third year, and in the end mode or the when the cash flows are occurring at the end of each period, there is no cash flow at the beginning of time zero, right?
Understood.
Guys, I'll just have some water. My throat. So I'll just be back. Okay. So, guys, when cash flows are occurring at the end of each period, we call such an annuity as ordinary annuity. Visa cal. Wait, wait, wait. we call such an annuity as ordinary, right? And when cash flows occur at the beginning of each period, we call it annuity due,
due.
right? Guys, please remember why do we call this as an ordinary annuity? Why do when cash flows are occurring at the end of each period, why do we call it at an ordinary annuity? Because usually payments are made in arrears, right? That is why ordinarily payments are made in arrears. That is why we are calling this as annuity, ordinary annuity. So I'm telling this because you might remember with me saying this, usually payments are made in arrears. So when cash flows are occurring at the end of each period, we call it ordinary annuity, right? Guys, can you give me examples of ordinary annuity, please? Which cash flows occur at the end of each
Rental income.
or pay in advance?
No, don't
No, no,
consider
don't
the
consider
advance.
the advance. The rent is you have to pay in advance. You- so rent is your annuity due. You have to pay in advance, right?
EMIs, mortgage
Mortgage
EMIs.
EMIs. And also your insurance premium we pay in advance. So these are examples of annuity due. Yes, EMI on my home loan that would be paid in arrears, right?
Yeah.
Then my salary would be paid to me in arrears, right? And say my interest on my bank deposit or interest on my FD would be paid in arrears, right, guys? Guys, are we
Yeah.
good on this? What examples of ordinary, examples of annuity due? Are we good
Yes,
with
sir.
this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now, guys, first we learn how to calculate the future value and the present value of future value and present value of annuity. Hmm? Hello. Yes. We understand how you understand how to calculate this. Okay, so we first see future value, how to calculate future value of annuity. Like again, I'll take the line here, another line, zero. To extend this. Okay, guys. So my stated annual rate is 5% per annum, compounded annually. Right, guys? So how do we calculate the future value? This cash flow that occurs at the end of year one is compounded for how many years? Please tell me. This cash flow that occurs at the end of the first year is compounded for how many years? I have to calculate the future value at the end of year 3.
3 years.
So my
3 years.
yes, so my cash flow would be compounded for how many years? 2 years, right? 3 minus 1, 2 years, right? This cash flow that occurs at the end of the first year would be compounded for 2 years, because my purpose is to calculate the future value at the end of year 3. So 1 minus 3 minus 1, 2 years, right? So 100 into 1.05 to the power of 2. Right, guys? Please tell me the answer of this. Again, guys, I'm just going to tell you this so that you have a concept of what goes behind your calculator. You don't need not remember this, right? You need not remember this. After having done this, I will tell you how to use the calculator. Please tell me the value, guys. If I compound $100 for 2 years, what would be the value? 100 into 1.05 square is how much? 110.25. As this second cash flow, which occurs at the end of the second year, would be compounded for how many years? 3 minus 2, right? That would be
1 year.
compounded for
1 year.
1 year, 100 into 1.05. That is dollars 105.
100 and 100.
I add this up, this would be around 315.25. Now we use our calculator, first, second, CPT, second, CEC. Please do this first. Before entering anything in your calculator, guys, this is the first thing that we should do, right? This is the first thing that we should do. Second CPT, second CEC, right? Guys, your PV is 100. Our purpose is to calculate the FV. PV is 100. N is how much? N equals 3 years,
3. 3.
right? N equals 3. I by Y is equal to 5. Right, now comes PMT. Now the PMT button comes into play, right? PMT is nothing but your annuity. So the annuity for each period is how much? 100, right? N equals 3, PMT is 100, I by Y equals 5, PV equals 0, CPT, FV. Please calculate this, guys, and let me know.
315.25.
315.25.
Are all of you getting this answer, please? Shal?
I'm just doing it.
Yeah. Tejas, are you getting
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
I'm
Just give
doing
me a
it.
Yeah.
minute.
Just give me a minute.
So I'm pressurizing you guys because I want you to be really quick with your calculators, right? Because in exam, if we are very quick with our calculators, it tends to save a lot of time,
Yeah, got
Yeah,
it.
got it. Yeah.
right? So we're getting the
Okay.
same answers, right? I just
Yep.
give you this
Yep.
timeline. Why I give you this timeline here so that you can understand what goes behind your calculator, right? So this was the case of an ordinary annuity. Now I'll discuss annuity. You okay, guys? So I'll discuss annuity due. This would be the last part of today's session, right? Then we'll meet tomorrow. Tomorrow for you guys it would be night, right? But for India it will be tomorrow morning, right? So now I'll be discussing annuity due. Time 0, time 1, time 2, time 3, dollars 100, dollars 100, dollars 100. Guys, now I have to calculate the future value indexed at t equals 3, right? Or at this point, right? So now, guys, I'll compound this cash flow by how many years, right? Please tell me how many years?
3 years. 3 years.
3 years, or 3 minus 0, or 3 years, right? So 100 into 1.05 whole square, cube, 1.05 to the power of 3. How much is this? Okay.
was basically
Basically
115.7625.
115. Let us keep it to two digits, right? Now the second cash flow would be compounded for how many years? It would be compounded for 3 minus 1 or 2 years, right? That would be 100 into 1.05 to the power of 2, right? Which is nothing but 110.25, right? And the third cash flow would be compounded for 3 minus 2 or 1 year, right? That would be 100 into 1.05, right? How much is this, guys? 105. Now please add these three. Please add these three.
Three three one point zero one.
1.001, yeah.
331.01.
Now we use our calculator. We have to first set our calculator on BGN mode. We have to see the default mode of our calculator is end mode, right? We have to set our calculator on BGN mode. How do we do that? Second PMT, second enter. Then switch on off your calculator. You will see BGN written on top of your display screen in very small font. You would see this. Please do this. Second PMT, second enter. Switch on off. You will see BGN mode written on top of 0 in very small font. Can you see that, guys?
Yes.
Second PMT, second enter, switch on off your calculator on the display screen. You will be seeing BGN on top of 0. Can all of you see the
Yeah.
BGN mode written on your calculator, guys?
Yes.
Now we type the same stuff, right? We write the same thing as we had entered here. PV equals 0, N equals 3, I by Y equals 5, PMT equals 100, right? CPT, FV. Tell me what do you get, guys?
331.01.
So basically we get the same result.
Yeah.
Now, guys, very important thing here.
I have one
Very,
confusion. The present value always we are taking as zero,
uh-huh.
but the present value in the annuity due we should be having 100. Correct?
No, no. Present value is, see, present value is the, if I take all these cash flows and bring it back to time 0, right, Vishal, that would be the present value, right? If I take all these cash flows and I discount it at time 0, that would be present value, right?
Okay.
That won't be so when we are calculating FV, PV would be 0, right? PV under an annuity would be when we bring back all these cash flows at time 0, right? So when I divide 100 by 1.05, 100, the second cash flow that occurs at the end of second year, I bring it back to time 0. How will I bring it back? 100 divided by 1.05 to the power 2. Right. This third cash flow that occurs at the end of year 3, I'll bring it back to time 0. 100 divided by 1.05 to the power 3. Right. And this first cash flow would be 100 divided by 1.05. And when I add all these three cash flows, I'll get the present value. Right. So that would be 0 RPMT. Okay. So after having calculated the FV, I'll come to how to calculate the PV. Right. So don't worry. But I'll take that up tomorrow. Today I'm just going to end the session. Okay. Guys, a very important thing that you would appreciate. Divide 331 by divide 331.01 by 315.25. Tell me what do you get? Divide future value of
1.049.
That is
That is
1.05.
1.05. Future value of
Yep.
annuity due by future value of ordinary annuity, you would get 1.05, right? If I
100%.
deduct 1 from that, you get SAR, right? Or you get 5%. Now, guys, why is okay? So, with this formula, guys, can I say that FV of annuity due by FV of ordinary annuity is equal to 1 plus SAR?
Yep.
Or I can say future value of annuity due is future value of ordinary annuity into 1 plus AR. Guys, why is this relationship holding? This relationship will always hold good. Why is it so? Again, this is not given in the book, right? This is not given in the book. If you go through the mat, this particular relationship won't be given, right? But then again, you would be given questions to this relationship will help you solve those questions. Guys, why is it so? Please tell me. Why is future value of annuity due higher than the future value of ordinary annuity by 1 plus SAR? Why is it so, guys?
Because for annuity due, the interest is being charged from day one.
Why is exactly, Sumit? You are right. See, please understand this, guys. Under annuity due, right, all my cash flows are being compounded for one period more. So the first cash flow is being compounded for 3 years, the second cash flow is compounded for 2 years, and the third cash flow is compounded for 1 year. But under ordinary annuity, the first cash flow is compounded for 2 years, the second cash flow for 1 year, and the third cash flow is not compounded at all, right? So under annuity due, right, while calculating future value, each of my cash flow is being compounded for one period more, and that is why future value of annuity due is greater than future value of annuity due is greater than. So someone I think entered. Okay. So future value of annuity due is greater than future value of ordinary annuity by a factor of 1 plus SAR. Right? Guys, are we good on this?
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
Why? Because under annuity due, why is future value higher by a factor of 1 plus SAR? Why? Because under annuity due, while calculating my future value, right, each cash flow is being compounded for one period more, right? The first cash flow is being compounded for 3 years, the second for 2 years, and the third for 1 year, right? But under ordinary annuity, the first cash flow is being compounded for 2 years, the second for 1 year, and the third is not compounded at all, right? So we under annuity due, we are compounding our cash flow for one period more compared to ordinary annuity while calculating future value, right? Any doubt in this, please?
No, sir.
No. No.
No? Okay. So then, guys, I think we are good for today's session, right? Tomorrow we will discuss a series of equal cash flows only before class, right? I'll have 5, 6 questions, then we'll proceed to the next topic. Tomorrow we will be through with this particular reading on time value of money. So, last and
Okay.
final call,
Okay.
guys. No doubts, then I should close the session.
Yeah. So if we have any doubt, we will ask
Yeah,
tomorrow.
so whatever,
We will try to
see
clarify.
Vishal, the way is that whatever doubts you have, right, you post me on the group, right? I'll reply as soon as possible, right? I'll reply as soon as possible.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Sure.
Okay, then, guys. Uh, then in that case, see you tomorrow, right? Okay,
Yep.
Sumit,
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Tejas,
Thank you, sir.
Vishal. Okay, bye, bye, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Rahul.
Thanks so much. Yeah.